So we've got 5 categories of questions, as Dr. Marshall indicated. Male and female relationships, dating, waiting, courting issues, married couples, okay? The effects of media images and stereotypes on Christian relationships. And then we have a combination of teen relationships and successful singles relationships, okay? And I'm looking at our panel, and I believe one is married, right? One out of our distinguished panels. Okay, excellent. So our first question, and I'm going to ask this, if I may, let's see, Dr. Lee. Dr. Lee. Reverend Lee, excuse me, sir. Reverend Lee. Hey, I might have the gift. So do celebrity relationships or the overall images that we see in hip hop affect Christian relationships? So is it cool to be a famous baby's mama or a famous video vixen? And the reason I'm asking Reverend Lee is because I know you worked with the Hip Hop Summit Network. So again, what about these images that we see in media? Is it cool to be someone's, second mother or third mother to someone's, fourth child? Yes, but it happens.
Okay, let me make sure I'm hearing the question correctly. Your question is, do celebrity relationships have an impact on regular Christian relationships?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I would say yes. I would say that celebrity, pop culture has an impact upon Christians in general. We can act like it doesn't, but it really does. And I can tell you that from what I see you wearing on a regular basis. I can tell you that from even the impact of hip hop culture, even on churches right now, even on music and those kinds of pieces, because we're growing up in a certain type of time frame. Now, with that, celebrity relationships have impact, especially when we don't talk to each other about how to decode things. And how to be able to look at things and process things to see what we want to internalize for ourselves, what fits our value structure and what doesn't. And a lot of times we have not done a good job of teaching, especially our young people, how to be able to process what they see so they can look at it and say, no, that really doesn't fit what I believe, that really doesn't fit where I'm going. So it does have an impact. It has an impact in the way we talk to each other. It has an impact in the way we dress around each other. It impacts what cologne we wear. It impacts the kind of flowers we buy. It impacts the kind of gifts we give, those kinds of pieces. And so in that then, to see celebrity relationships and how people play out those relationships, it also impacts what we consider our standards of normalcy are. And so it becomes normal then for us to be able to sit, and I don't understand where this ever became normal for black folks, but it becomes normal for a sister to be fighting over flavor. And that's no disrespect to flavor, because there are a lot of folks who money dressed them up well. Flavor still looks like flavor with money. I need money to dress me up, right? But I'm gonna need money to end up getting me to that real slick stage. Chris Rock, money did him good, you know what I'm saying? Y'all remember Chris Rock when he first home? I'm not lying, y'all know what I'm telling the truth. But what happens is we end up see what happens, pop culture ends up having influence on what the boundaries are. And a lot of times the job of popular culture is to push the boundaries so far that then what becomes even the median is so far away from what really our standard is. And so that I think if I'm answering correctly, I believe that would be my answer.
And with that, Mr. Conjure, I know you've done radio, okay? And now you're doing radio, you've transitioned to kind of a whole hip hop. And in fact, I saw you on the Young People That Rock segment. And if you don't know about the Young People That Rock segment, this is a segment that CNN, they feature individuals who are doing wonderful things in the community. And there's, I believe, maybe an age category, but I saw your interview, and Nicole Lampin asked you specifically about hip hop artists. And you said, if I may, forgive me if this is not verbatim, but you said people can take their mess and make it a message.
Sure.
People can have a stand, or if they stand, let them have a standard. So as you've kind of seen individuals, let's say WKYS, have you seen anyone have kind of transitioned from, let's say, secular hip hop only and now transferred over to holy hip hop, and kind of how have they balanced that relationship with God and then maybe even their relationship with other young ladies?
I think what happens is in hip hop, we all want to catch the fish, but don't nobody want to clean the fish, you know. And with the hip hop artists, we gotta walk with them. You know, we have to meet them right where they are. We gotta love on them. You know, you have somebody like a Bone Crusher that comes on our show, you know, Spirit Hip Hop. We did an event at, what was it, Word of Faith in Atlanta with Bishop Delcy Bryan. It's called Exodus. And you had a Fable from D4L that came out, you know, that before we brought him out, we said, you know, how many of you all would want a person to love on you right now? You know, how many of you all want to be loved? You know, how many of you all want a personal relationship with God? And everyone there said, yeah. And he said, well, we bring out one of our friends right now that, you know, who wants a personal relationship with God. Would you accept them? Would you love on them? And to have someone like Fable come out and start singing a song to God talking about let's be friends, I think it shows a level of growth. What we have to do is we have to meet them right where they are. I agree totally with what you said. It's what we see that actually gets in our hearts. You know, we have to protect our hearts, because whatever is in our hearts, it'll actually, believe it or not, it'll start to come out your mouth, you know? So if you listen to the hip-hop music, if you watch the videos, if you watch what they're doing, then you will find yourself doing that. I believe that we should be the standard. You know, if we represent the King of Kings, I think you should be a king. I think when you show up, he should show up. You know, you don't have to try to conform to them, but when you show up, they'll look at you and they'll say, man, I didn't know Jesus was so fly, you know? And that's just because you're that fly.
Okay, thank you. And in fact, since we're kind of touching on media, I have one of our questions here. Okay, it says 750,000 girls will get pregnant in 2008. Movies like Juno, Knocked Up, and some of Hollywood stars are being highlighted for their recent pregnancies. Is there a media glamorization of teen pregnancy, unplanned pregnancy, and unwed pregnancy? And I will actually release this question, if I may, to Dr. Lindsay, but then follow up with Mr. J. Cameron, because I know I indicated these movies of Juno and Knocked Up, and I know that you have plays that kind of instill in the youth that there is another way. So from the avenue of Dr. Lindsay, if you can give us your young women's perspective on the matter, and then we'll transition.
Well, I think, again, it goes to the power of influence and the power that media does have. So when you look at movies like, and I really wanted to see Juno and I haven't seen it yet, but then you look at how I think at times it's perhaps not glamorized, but largely minimized. You know, it's kind of like matter-of-factly, like, oh, she's pregnant, all right, you know, like she forgot her lunch. You know, it's just like, okay, moving right along. And so I think that because it's largely minimized, then we don't really discuss the consequences. We don't really discuss the responsibility involved. We don't really discuss like what went wrong there, because we're discussing here teen pregnancy, unplanned pregnancy, and unwed pregnancy, and then there's certain couples that are, you know, glamorized, like, oh wow, they're having their baby, and you're like, but, like, are they married though? And what happens is then it minimizes the covenant of marriage, which we know is a God-ordained covenant, and so then it says, well, you know, just do you know, just do you. And Proverbs says there's a way that seems right to a man, but then thereof are the ways of death. So, and really it's been noted, and I think Hill, you might even mention this in Letters to a Young Brother, the devastating consequences that are really plaguing our community because of children that are growing up in households that do not have a father present. And I mean, they're linking that up now to like the penal system, the education system, behavior disorders, psychological. I mean, like that thing runs deep. There is a root that happens when a father is not present in a home. So, teen pregnancy, unplanned pregnancy, unwed pregnancy is really more. It's a devastating phenomenon, but it is largely minimized. I probably wouldn't say it's glamorized, but it is really. You know, just, do whatever, get an abortion or die. You got options, you know.